Hey everyone, welcome back to our podcast. I'm Jessica Hensley with Real Estate Mega Moms, where we help moms create a life and a business that they love. And I have Stefanie with me again. We actually just got done with part one. We were going a little over, so we decided to do part two. What we're in the middle of is 5 key lead sources you should be utilizing to generate seller leads. I know everyone wants listings right now. That's a big topic I'm seeing and hearing in the real estate world, that people are like, okay, if there's a shakeup with buyers, then maybe I should focus on sellers. And we've actually always preached this. We've always been more heavy with listings. And we are excited for more agents to embrace that. There's a lot of freedom in being a listing agent. You have the inventory, you have a lot more control over things, and I think it gives you more job security. So we're all about you being a listing agent. So what we've talked about so far, and if you haven't listened to it, go back and listen to the last episode, or part one. We've already talked about our strategies on how we're utilizing our past clients in our sphere for listings, also ISO posts. We talked some good strategy there, and we talked about leads from our website. How are we generating leads from our website? You know, something I actually did leave off, Steph, on leads from our website is KV Core website does have a market value part on there. So you can actually utilize that whenever you're marketing, when you're sending out postcards, on your email signature. Like, you can use that link anywhere and everywhere. And it's a link that will go to your website that will give them their home value. But before it gives them that home value, they have to put in their address, their phone number, their email. So then you're kind of getting this regular flow of people who are just curious. They're just like value curious. They haven't really decided to list their house yet. Just want to know what their house would sell for if they did. And so those are the type of leads that are so great. You want to get somebody before they're making a decision, before it's urgent, right? You want to be top of mind before that time. So I forgot to mention that on the website. But what we're going to finish up is for sell by owner and expired. I knew we would take a while on that one, so we're going to talk about that today. And then also direct mailing. That's a whole new, not new, it's a whole strategy in and of itself, and there's a lot we can cover with that. So yeah, did you have anything else to add on the website?
Nope.
Okay.
Not at all.
Okay, so Seth, for sell by owner,
Yes.
You know what? Hang on one second. I'm going to do our intro. Okay, we had to get that in there. Like, it's, you know, it's us. So, for sell by owners and expireds, how are you going after them? Do they exist? Is it worth our time?
I think all the above. It is. I mean, you've gotta, right? We don't have a lot of expireds in our market. We just don't. The beginning of the month just happened here. I know this won't play at the beginning of the month. It probably won't. But so I went through them. I'm just curious. I'm like, I'm going to go through them. A lot of them were new constructions, and there's a few of them that did absolutely relist again. That typically happens. We have loyal people that will just go ahead and relist, and it's understandable. And then we had a lot of them that they had didn't expire. It went off the market, and for some reason with our MLS, it relisted again, and then it showed it expired, but it had already, another MLS number had relisted, and it was pending, and just a bunch of weird things. So there was like 2 real expireds out of like 21 or 22 is what it looked like. So there wasn't a whole lot. It's an excuse though, not to go ahead and just work those 2 expireds, right? When there's, in my mind, it's like, oh, there's going to be 1,000 agents like calling those 2 expireds. You could still work them. Years ago, when expireds were hot, 2000, I think it was 14, 15, I think I mentioned to you, Jess, I had an entire expired system, and I've shaped that back up, and more than willing to start using that. In fact, my boys, my husband and my son who are on my team, have talked about that. We also have a for sale by owner system that we have considered to start to use. I think those are both wonderful programs and systems to use. And why not? Why not? I mean, they are there ready to go. I think that the big ticket is when we did we work them with consistency. And that is the big ticket there is you can't call them one time and expect to get it. And maybe you will. I'm sorry. You might one time, you might. But the ones that I got that I was the most proud of are the ones that I was just consistent with, that I just did not go away, and they noticed it, and that I got. And
I know it's going to be hard to cover in just a short amount of time, Stefanie, but if you could just give us the highlights and the details of your system. I think something that everyone would probably like to know is, how do you get their contact information? Some MLSs I've been part of, they put the seller's phone number in there, but the one I'm part of currently, they don't. So, how are you gathering this data? How do you track it? How do you get the information? What do you say? All of those things.
So I'll look at the expired first. So the expired system, sometimes you guys, if you would pull up your MLS the day that it's expired, some agents do not take out the contact information right away. So it might still be on there. When I ran the expired system, I went through something called REDX. I think it's REDEX or X. I don't know. And they gave you phone numbers, or they would scrub to find the phone numbers. Now there's a do not call registry. So if they're on the do not call registry, you can't call them. You just can't. So I had a letter system, and my system was basically we had I believe it was a 6-letter system. And I would send them a letter that day. If I couldn't call them, I would send them a letter that first day. And I would send them another letter, I believe it was the second day, a letter the 4th day, a letter the week after, and so on. So we had a setup where it's 6 days. And at the time, we had a spreadsheet where Redix would scrub it and see, are they relisted? So we're double checking. Are you relisted? Are you relisted? Every time these letters would go out, because if it's relisted, you're not sending them a letter, right? So you have to double check this. So you can either have, I think we had one of our mega moms had a binder system where there was letters in their binder just to double check. I had a spreadsheet system. So Redx would scrub it, and then Redx would run it right into my Excel database. And then from there, we would print the letters automatically off. And then it would scrub MLS every day. Redx would run to scrub it. It'd go into our database, and then we would print off the letters. And then my assistant would handwrite the notes, the letters. And we'd put the letters on a blue envelope. It wasn't white. It was a blue envelope. So that way, if anyone else was doing this, my envelope would stick out and it would be a handwritten letter. And she was sick of it because there's quite a few of them at the time, but they would see this all the time come through, and it'd be 6 letters, and it would be over the course of so many times. And it's not just a letter. It was a letter with information. Stats, and other data. And by the time
I was going to ask, what happened in these letters?
Yeah, it was, information about us, information about accomplishments that I've had, history that homes that I've sold that maybe were challenging, things that our team has done, houses that I maybe sold in the area, just challenges that we've overcame, and services that we provide, and things that we could do better for them, and anything that we could do to help them, and helpful hints, and just more data and things that we could do to serve them, just helpful information. So go ahead.
I was just going to say, by the way, these kind of things, we're sharing as much as we can. And obviously we're on a podcast, right? We can't share the actual document, but these type of things are what's available to our coaching students. So if you are a coaching student, just reach out to us and let us know if you need more details or actually want the templates. So anyway.
Yeah, definitely. So, so basically, once you see all this information go out and these sellers are constantly seeing this information, they have enough time to look through all my information. They have enough time to contact me. And by the time they go through all this, I typically have talked to them. I've either been at their door. I've talked to them on the phone. If they're not on the do not call registry, they've had time to look through my social media. They've had time to call me if they wanted to. I made it so enticing to them that they want to talk to me. Like, I've got the goods. They want to talk to me. And I've got, a lot of times got listings, and it is so exciting. That's another one of those things that I just I thrive on that stuff. I'm like, and I mean it. I'm not sending them junk. I'm not sending them things that are just like you can on the internet and print off. I'm sending them things that I mean, and I thrive on. Like, this is my blood, sweat, and tears. And here, I mean this. I'm giving this to you, and I can help you, and I mean it. And so that's kind of the expired system. And then the for sale by system is the same kind of system. It's consistency. It's kind of like what I was talking to you about, Jess, when I was explaining to you that my buyer presentation that I'm preparing now and what I'm changing is I stay up morning, noon, and night doing these things. And I am so pumped about what I'm putting into this presentation, because every single nook and cranny of this is me. And it's my heart and my soul and what I can do. And I mean it. That's what the for sale by owner system is too. It's what I can do, and I mean it. And it's what I've done my entire life. It's like putting my life into a book, but giving it to people in sections.
Yeah.
And letting them know who I am, and then drawing them in, and then hopefully making that connection and being in front of them.
You know what you should do? So, because I know you're kind of reviving this because you've had plenty of business, and then now you still have great business, but you're getting back into this for sale by owner expired, so we can all increase our listing business, right? So anyway, here's my thought. What if you break down those letters into a YouTube video series? And whatever you're sharing in that letter, there's like a scan to watch, and maybe it even shows like the thumbnail of like, I prepared this video for you, please watch it, and it's going to explain what I mean by this data, or they explain how this information can help you. You know what I mean? So you're going to give them a reason to
That's a great idea. And I think that what's really kind of inspired me to do all of that and all of this I wouldn't say rebrand, or just kind of like refreshing this again, is for Jacob and Brad, to be able to, they're learning a lot from the experience that I've had. And I want to be able to put that in kind of a nice package for them to be able to learn and carry on with that as well. So I think that this is a perfect time for that. So that's a great idea with the YouTube videos, because I don't think about those things. And that's a great idea.
I'm going to do it. You're inspiring me. So this is going on my list. We'll probably have to do it in like the third quarter, but we're going to look through together. I'd love to see your templates, the letters that you're sending out. And then I'm going to have my girls start sending those out to the expireds and the for sale by owners in our area. And then that'll be automated, right? So we'll send them the email or the letter out, and it'll go to the video that I've created that's going to be more generic, so it'll fit everybody, right? And then I suppose at that point, if we get any kind of good response or it's a hot listing, I could always do a personal bomb for them as well, so anyway, I'm excited.
They're getting, you guys, the for sale by owners and expireds are getting so many like things like right off of the internet. And also with all the buyer stuff that's going on right now, they're going to get so many generic things. Like, be you, and then tell them about you, and all the wonderful things that you're doing, because like I know that there's so many special things going on. So that's what my programs are. And so that's exciting.
I love it. So hopefully that gave you some ideas on the for sale by owners and expireds, and we answered some detailed questions on what to do and how to do it. The next one of our 5 lead sources is direct mail, which is sort of in that same vein, right? Where you're talking about sending direct mail when you can't call the for sale by owner and expired, but you will pick up the phone up and call them too. But direct mail. So let's think about farming. Let's think about, for me, something that's really, really working right now is sending out buyer ISO letters. I mean, again, and I know we talked about the ISO post and actually making phone calls is what Stefanie was talking about, but what about doing a search in your county, finding off-market properties for your buyers and sending direct mail to the properties that match your buyer's criteria? What about that? So that's something that we're doing right now. I'm actually doing it through a service called Celebrity Agent. So I can, again, for me, like time is money. I don't necessarily have time to do that search, send those letters, create the message and all of that. So the automated system works really well for me. But if you don't have the money, then you have the time. You typically have like more of one or the other, right? When you're starting out, you don't have all the money, but you have the time. So do that. Spend time to find the off-market properties and send them a letter. And this is what you're going to say. This is kind of the idea, the gist of what the postcards say from Celebrity Agent. So I'll put once I sign a buyer client, and they've committed to work with me. I had the buyer agency with them. One of my value propositions to my buyers is that I'm going to help you find a property that's not on the market. Of course, we're going to look what's on the market too, but the benefit of the off market is you won't have to compete with anyone else. So that gives you right off the bat a great advantage, and you're more likely to get the house. So I would say the letter will appear as if it's coming from my buyer. And it will say, hey, I'm new to the area. I just took a job at the hospital and I'm looking for a home in your neighborhood, a 3-bedroom, 2-bath. It looks like your home has 3-bedroom, 2-bath. And I was wondering if you've ever considered selling your home or know somebody who has. If you know in the neighborhood. If you do, will you have them call my agent? So it's coming from my buyer, not from me. It's not giving their personal information. It's not giving their phone number or their last name. But the number it's giving them is mine. And so, and actually in this case, Celebrity Agent has a number they've created for me so I can see where the leads come from. And I kid you not, Stefanie, I'm going on 1 to 2 listing appointments a week from that. Just the buyer needs.
That's amazing.
Yeah. It is amazing. And I think that it's something that you could, like I said, you could easily do on your own. The other thing that we're doing is our past clients. So we put in all of our data, and it's sending strategic postcards and also anniversaries and things like that. And I've been getting more calls from my past clients just randomly, like, hey, I got your postcard. I was actually thinking about selling. I'd love to talk to you. And they're seeing me in other ways, but like for whatever reason, the postcard is hitting home. Or if I list a property, then the neighbors, anything that's similar to that property, they're getting a postcard from me that says, hey, I just sold your neighbor's house. We actually had a lot of buyers that were interested, and we have disappointed buyers. I was wondering if you would consider selling your home if I could tell my buyers about your home. Go in and listing appointment about that tomorrow. So
is that a Celebrity Agent too, or that's like a separate?
No, all of the direct mail that I'm doing right now is Celebrity Agent. I was doing it more manual before, but it takes so much time. So I kind of just switched to this.
Okay. Yeah. So Celebrity Agent, you give the addresses of your clients too for the birthdays and stuff?
Yeah. So what happens is they connect to your MLS and they can see all of your past sales.
Okay.
Also, it'll send, and this kind of leads me to something you were going to say, but it'll also send postcards to the listings that I had that sold, even if I didn't represent the buyer, automatically. And when I say it'll send to my listings, it'll actually send to other people's new or just sold listings if it's in my farm. Okay. So now it doesn't depend on, because I know some people are going to be like, well, I don't have any listings that just sold, or I don't have any new listings, so what about me? Well, you can say, here's the area that I want to focus on, and then any activity in that area is going to trigger them to send out postcards. And you can do it based on your budget. I think I spend $12.50 a month. That includes postage. So to me, with it being automated and just the fact that it's working for me, and I will just say, full disclosure, if anyone that's listening or watching does look into this, I am on their advisory board because I believe in it and it's worked for me. Like, I just can't even tell you how I'm so happy with it. And I'm giving you as much detail as I can so you could recreate it yourself. You don't have to pay for a service, especially if you don't have the money. Don't do that. But if you do have the money and you can leverage, then I would say it is a service I would recommend.
I'd love to hear that success. That's amazing. I remember when you were first looking into it. So I'm glad.
Do you have any experience with direct mail that's working for you?
I have not done any direct mail for quite a while. So, outside of, I used to mail out the newsletters and that kind of thing. And I don't do that anymore either. I email those. So no, I haven't done any farming, like direct mail farming, for quite a while. So I'm going to look into Celebrity Agent though.
Yeah. I mean, I think especially for a more established agent, I think it just like reinforces what you already have built. So
right.
Definitely
there. So, right.
But in the vein of, okay, what are some other ways you can do this if you don't want to pay for it? But so we're not saying you have to do that to be successful, right?
Yeah.
So I would also tell you, I picked a farm a couple years ago, and part of the strategy was, and this is from Mary Maloney, by the way. She's in our upline at EXP. She says you need to send them a piece of mail every other week for at least 8 touches. So that would be over the course of 16 weeks for them to even register who you are, right? If you haven't been farming it, that's how you establish yourself within a farm. You can get on Etsy and find farming postcards. There's a plethora of different ideas out there. I love the just sold. So then anything that, is listed, sold, pending, open house, any of those things in that neighborhood that you're farming should and could trigger a postcard. And you can do it through, I think they call it EDDM. What I would do if I was going to start this myself, I would just Google how to send direct mail, right? There's lots of services that offer it, where they can either do it for you, print it and mail it for you, or you can print it and then you just bring it to the post office as a bundle. So that's what we ended up doing. We just physically brought it to the post office, and then we paid for the postage based on how many units, and then they would mail it out. So here's a trick. Go ahead.
Okay. I was going to say, I think RPR has some addresses. I don't know for sure. I've never done it. Or even your title company might help with addresses, because some people are probably wondering how to do that.
Good point.
I would check. RPR, that was one thing I had down to check into myself. So check into those 2 places, title company and then RPR for addresses.
Yep. And we actually did do a training on the RPR, like how to pull addresses. So that's probably something that we could go over with like our coaching students. So if you're in our programs, let us know if you want to do that, or if you want more information about what we offer there, feel free to, comment, message, whatever. But I mean, a lot of this stuff is available on YouTube, right? So you can also probably go to YouTube and ask how to print labels through RPR, and I bet that you'll see something there. But here's a little tip that we tried, And that was, instead of them throwing the postcard away, we said if you would take this postcard in to our local small mom and pop coffee shop, that they could get a coffee on us. And we instructed the mom and pop coffee shop to keep track of those and to ask them to write their name and number on the postcard. So then we would know who redeemed, right? That's like catching their information. We would probably add them to our database at that point, give them a call like, hey, I saw you redeemed the coffee. I hope you enjoyed that coffee. Please let us know if we can ever help you with any of your real estate needs.
I love that. I love that.
So that way they're not just going in the trash. But you know what? Even if your mail ends up in the trash, as long as they see you often enough, it's going to get ingrained. And the other mistake I see a lot of people make with direct mail is they try it once and they're like, oh, this doesn't work. You got to be consistent. And I would say you have to marry a farm at least a year before you're going to see success. That's why they call it farming, right? It's not hunting like the for sale by owner and the expired where you go out and shoot and drag it home. You're farming, and that means you have to break up the ground, you have to plant the seed, you have to water it, and you have to keep the weeds out. So, which means maybe other agents, I don't know. And it doesn't have to be just direct mail, right? Steph? Like you can also stay in touch with your farm in different ways.
Sure. I've got a friend, an agent friend in Pennsylvania that pays for her direct mail for an entire year. At the beginning of the year, she just does it. She's just like, I don't want to wait until I feel broke one quarter or whatever the case is. She's just like, I just pay for it and it's out of my hair. And that way when things are low, it's just done. And then when things are high, I'm like, yes. So, I mean, if you could do that, like if you could budget, like at a certain point of the year, like normally when things are good, like maybe the summer's normally a good time of the year for you. Like maybe you could prepay for the entire 6 months or whatever the case is, like prepay for a certain period of time. If direct mail is in your marketing plan.
That reminds me, Steph, I think we should maybe next episode, let's talk about finances. I think what we could talk about here is explain, how do we break up our commission checks and what advice do we have for a brand new agent or a newer agent about how much to put back, how much to reinvest in your business, how much to live on. There's a lot that it's really easy to fall into the trap of owing a lot of taxes, not investing, blowing the money, So yeah, let's do a whole episode on that.
Great idea.
All right, everyone. Well, this was our 5 tips to getting listings in today's market. Hopefully you found some great lead sources. We'd love to hear from you. Tell us what your ahas were. Tell us if you maybe have another preferred lead source that we didn't think about. Also, we want to hear your successes. Anything that you try that we talk about, if it works for you, let us know. We want to hear your good news.
Yes, share your thoughts.
All right, everyone. We'll see you next time.
Bye, ladies.
Bye.